Welcome to my Capstone Symposium presentation. My name is Brandon Espiritu, and the title of my poster is Unlocking the Transformative Power of Individual Environmental Action. For my capstone, I interned with Friends of Lincoln Park and explored how individual actions ripple out to create meaningful change across ecological, social, communal, and broader scales through my own individual research. We often hear that individual efforts to protect the environment are insignificant compared to the massive impacts of industries and corporations. In the face of global environmental crises like climate change and biodiversity loss, planting a tree or changing lifestyles can feel like a lost cause. However, environmental actions can have impacts across a wide range. This depends on how we view them. Personal efforts hold far-reaching significance that extends well beyond just the numbers. From nurturing sustainability mindsets in empowering communities to driving broader policy changes, individual actions are catalysts for meaningful change. The purpose of this study is to demonstrate why individual environmental actions, which are often perceived as inconsequential, should be reframed and understood as catalysts for meaningful change. I first started this project with this as my research question. Can individual environmental actions like volunteering for restoration projects actually make a meaningful impact beyond just the work itself? But I soon realized the original question never defined what constitutes an action to be meaningful. Is it just the quantifiable metrics like carbon emissions reduced or acres of habitat restored? Or could meaning take on many different forms? Instead of trying to pin down a singular definition of meaningful, I decided to look at it through a wider lens for my thesis. By reframing the significance of individual environmental actions through a holistic lens that recognizes their impacts across ecological, social, and political spheres, we can unlock pathways for catalyzing long-term sustainable change and fostering environmentally conscious communities. My internship experience with Friends of Lincoln Park, or FLIP, helped me arrive to this perspective on individual environmental actions. FLIP is a community-based organization made up primarily of volunteers. The mission is to help restore and preserve the urban forests of Lincoln Park here in Seattle. As an intern, I was able to participate in environmental fieldwork, mainly consisting of removing invasive species, preserving existing native plants, and planting natives within a restoration site. I saw firsthand the importance of volunteer-driven efforts for conserving urban green spaces. If it weren't for Flip and the people dedicating the time, forests in Lincoln Park wouldn't be the same. Because of this realization, I did my research, not to find evidence as to why individual environmental actions matter, but how they did. I looked at how initiatives could foster ecological literacy through sociological surveys about environmental education, and the role of critical thinking in developing an ecoculture, empower communities through citizen-led mitigation and adaptation strategies, ways to motivate tangible positive outcomes to communities as described by climate leaders, the importance of using ecological and social data to determine why a place should or shouldn't be restored, and ultimately, how there is not enough research about the role of public participation in climate change adaptation. The impacts of these actions can be seen across four key areas, as seen in this map. Within individuals, within communities, within the environment, and within the broader picture. For time, I'll just cover two of these areas. Within the broader scope, individual actions and community-driven initiatives can influence systemic change and drive policy shifts. For example, studies in Malaysia underscore the importance of citizen participation in passing of mitigation and adaptation efforts, all of which can only be achieved if those same citizens understand the importance of those efforts. And within communities, these efforts promote civic engagement and collective responsibility. For example, the Zoo Alive volunteer program at the St. Louis Zoo created the Buy the Bags program, which involved youth involvement in the environmental programs to reduce plastic bag usage. Not only does this educate the younger generation about ecological issues, but also empowers them to take active roles in their communities. This is just a brief look at some of the key dimensions. The forms that individual environmental actions can take are incredibly diverse. But regardless of this specific approach, what is clear is that when we recognize and nurture the personal, community, ecological, and systemic impacts of environmental efforts, we unlock pathways towards catalyzing broader sustainable change. So what does this mean moving forward? The idea is to recognize the transformative potential of individual environmental actions by looking at the impacts of these actions through a broader lens across these four key areas. By acknowledging this, we potentially harness the full spectrum of impacts from individual actions and what they might lead to. We need to foster a culture of environmental stewardship. We are to drive long-term sustainable change, no matter the scale. The scale of environmental crises can seem overwhelming for anyone, but underestimating the ripple effects of our personal actions disregards their capacity to reshape mindsets, inspire broader movements, and ultimately influence systems and policies. Thank you for listening and engaging with my ideas. I'd like to thank my site supervisor, Lisa McGidney, and my faculty advisor, Eli Wheat, for their guidance and support throughout this journey. Their insights have been invaluable in helping me understand the complexities of this broad and difficult topic. Thank you.